This is the documented soul communication from UN's transmission. The mystery of Menglong's origin. Part 1. Yu is especially worried about the unjust treatment of ethnic minorities in Xinjiang. He told me that, although he was born in Xinjiang, by the time he was old enough to form memories, he had already left his birthplace, but he is a person who cherishes the past and counts his blessings. So he always paid particular attention to news about Xinjiang. I discovered that the persecution of Xinjiang's ethnic minorities, men, women, young and old alike, by the Chinese Communist government has persisted for decades, especially in the last 10 years. After the Chinese government established re-education camps, the persecution and conflicts facing Xinjiang's ethnic minorities have intensified further. You said that after growing up, he had always wanted to return to Xinjiang to see his people. But because he was controlled by agents, he was unable to freely go anywhere he wished. With Yu's permission, I used my celestial eye to understand his origins and what had happened in the past. It turned out that Yu is half ethnically from a Xinjiang minority group, but his birth mother was forced into pregnancy and childbirth. In most ethnic minority families in Xinjiang, an agent is placed in the household. The purpose is to monitor whether people speak Mandarin or whether they exhibit any resistance. However, these agents are far from decent people. Under the CCP government's directives of Mandarin-dominant education and weakening of traditional ways of life, when they saw attractive young women in these families, they developed malicious intentions. In many Xinjiang ethnic minority families, good-looking girls were impregnated through illegitimate means. The perpetrators were the very agents who monitored them day and night. The CCP government tacitly permitted agents to use this method of population washing to persecute innocent ethnic minority women, whether married or unmarried. The violated women were not even allowed to take their own lives. For fear of affecting the development of the fetus, these children would all be taken away before the age of 3. Why 3? Because research conducted in underground laboratories, established by the CCP government, found that children under 3 have extremely unstable physical constitutions. With the slightest lapse in care, they risk dying young. But after 3, their physical constitutions stabilize and they can endure long journeys. Yu was taken from Xinjiang by an agent at around the age of 3, separated from his birth mother. The agent who took him away was his biological father, the agent himself. He delivered Yu to an underground laboratory in a remote area, where Yu was kept together with other ethnic minority children, their bodies bound with ropes. Confined in a dark and terrifying place, these children did not all come from Xinjiang. Some were from Tibet, Inner Mongolia, Guangxi, Ningxia, and other regions. There were a great many, roughly 100 or more children around the age of 3. Of course, Yu has no memory of this, because the researchers injected them with a special substance. After the injection, the children became dazed, silent, and lost their memories. This substance was administered intravenously and had to be given daily, because once the drug was metabolized, the children would return to normal. In addition, the researchers drew considerable amounts of blood from them, separating out red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, and stem cells, which were then cataloged and frozen. He was not his birth mother's first child. At the tender age of 16, she was assaulted by the agent assigned too closely, monitor her, sometimes by more than one person. Before giving birth to Yu, she had already borne and had taken away a number of children. After enduring repeated oppression and assault, she gradually developed signs of mental instability and needed her family's care for daily life, let alone study or work. After giving birth to Yu, excessive childbearing caused uterine problems, and she could no longer conceive. The underground laboratory, tacitly approved by the CCP government, conducted a special experiment, taking a group of children away from their parents, having the CCP government centrally manage, educate, and train them in various skills, to see whether after reaching adulthood, they could work for the state openly or covertly like machines, without resistance. At this point, the laboratory researchers had a disagreement. After discussion, they decided to divide the children into two groups. The experimental group consisted of children without parental care, and the control group consisted of children with parental care. To avoid errors, the so-called parents were all agents in disguise. Yu was placed in the control group. He was sent to a family constructed by agents and became the only child in the household. Although it was an agent-constructed family, his adoptive mother still raised Yu with great care. After the injections were discontinued, Yu vaguely sensed that he was not truly a child of this family, but he was nonetheless very filial toward his parents. Whether by coincidence or by special arrangement from above, Yu's adoptive father was actually his biological father. He died carrying out a mission when Yu was around 5 years old. After that, Yu's adoptive mother raised him on her own. The children in the experimental group were dispersed and detained elsewhere. Trained in physical fitness, sent to temples to learn martial arts, and other talents for eventual entry into the entertainment industry, among other things. These children continued to receive daily injections of the special substance to ensure they would not resist or escape. You told me that on the surface. It appeared his mother raised him independently, but in reality, the entire network of agents was collectively monitoring him. This was something he gradually discovered as he grew up. There were always people around him, claiming to be relatives, who were actually watching over him. They followed him everywhere, and if he went too far, they would step in to stop him. When he felt uneasy and told his mother, she would always smooth things over for those people or deflect the matter. He said he was always being closely watched by the people around him. This feeling was particularly uncomfortable and unsettling. After growing up and experiencing many things, he finally understood that these people were all agents monitoring him, and that he was like the protagonist in the movie. The Truman Show, stripped of freedom and privacy. Don't forget to subscribe to us. For further updates and follow UN Transmission on Gangjing World. For the original article,